Sister Meg. Now introducing Sister Megan with the message.
First of all, thank you for letting me come out here tonight and share my story with you. At first, I gave my life to the Lord on Thursday, January 28, 1993. And that was 3 days after my big brother, who was a Marine, he was killed by a sniper in Mogadishu, Somalia. And it was such a shock. It was such a huge deal. We had news reporters come in the house, in and out, want to interview everybody. And my parents had me out of school, and it was just, it's like one of those things you see on TV. This happens to other people, but you don't ever think it's going to happen to you. And it was hard because I hadn't seen him for a while because he'd been after boot camp. He went to Okinawa, and then he came in for a short time, and then he went to Somalia. And then after they let us know that he'd been killed, it took a while for them to get his body back to us, and it was just really hard to accept. It took a long time, even after his funeral, it took a long time to sink in. But I think if what happened to him would have happened the way it did, I don't think that Thursday night when I was sitting at the kitchen table in the dark by myself talking with God, if what happened with my brother didn't happen, I don't think I would have gave my life to God when I did. Over the next, few years, going through my teenage years, life started, to get back to normal again. My freshman and sophomore years in school were really good. I was popular. I was friends with everybody. I was in track. I was a cheerleader. I was finally really happy with my life. I was working 2 jobs. One job, I was a waitress a few days after school. And then on Saturdays, I opened the restaurant at 5 a.m. And then another restaurant opened. It was a steakhouse. And they hired me to sing country music there on Friday and Saturday nights. And I loved it. I was having fun. I was making good money. I was buying my own car. I was, being responsible. Well, one weekend, my boss was at the steakhouse. They had a guy come from Bartlesville down to sing with me that weekend. And by the end of the weekend, we ended up being boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever that kid stuff is. And we see each other every once in a while. But then 4th of July weekend, 1997. My life changed forever. That day on the 4th, he was performing out at Robert's Cave all afternoon. And afterwards, we hung out, we watched the fireworks, and afterwards we just hung out at my house. He had some family in Hartshorn, and when he came to town, that's who he stayed with. So I was up till midnight that night. The next morning, I got up at 5, and he came to the house, and my daddy took us fishing. We were fishing all day, and then that night he was performing at the street dance in Hartshorn. So I stayed there, watched him perform at the street dance, and when that was over, we just went back to my house. I remember sitting in the living room watching CNT, because back then it was nothing but country music videos. It didn't have all the commercials and all the extra shows in between. And like I said, my curfew was at midnight, but when it was getting closer to midnight, I asked my mom, can we just stay here at the house, and I'll leave at 12:30 and take him to Hartshorn, and then I'll be back here by 1. And she said no. And I was like, please, Mom, please. She said no. And I kept on and kept on and kept on until finally she said, all right, fine. So I don't remember any of the drive to Hartshorn. And at one point, I guess I dozed off at one point. Something jolted woke me up. I looked over at him and he was asleep. And I woke him up because I had missed the turn. And he was like, well, that's okay, we can go around this way. And when I dropped him off, he was like, will you please stay here? There's a room where you can sleep in. I'll stay on the couch. My family's not going to mind. I said, no, I'm awake now. I'll turn my radio on loud. I'll run my windows down, and I'll put some of my songs in and sing. That'll keep me awake. He was like, no, I'm worried about you. I don't want you falling asleep. And I wouldn't stay there. And so I don't remember any of the drive home whatsoever. I don't know how I made it over Gowan Mountain. I don't remember anything. And I think that is a way of God's healing me, protecting me from those memories, because I don't want to know what happened. I guess as I was getting close to Wilburton and I finally started seeing the city lights of town, that's when I finally relaxed, and that's when I went to sleep. And I drifted off to the left side of the road, and it was a really deep, culvert with rocks, and it was just really deep. When I went off, and thank God that there were no other vehicles involved, but I went off into that, and I went airborne 250 feet, and then I hit a cement culvert head on, and then it spun my car around facing the other direction, still on all 4 wheels. And there was a couple that was coming that way. They were leaving the rodeo grounds in Wilburton, and they saw my car, and it didn't look like I had wrecked, but they saw some smoke coming from the hood of my car, so they wanted to stop and just make sure everything was okay. And when I got to the window, she was like, "Oh my!" She was telling her husband, call for an ambulance. And they got my door open, and they unbuckled my seatbelt, and she held my head up until the paramedics got there. They got me to the hospital out here in Wilburton, and it was so bad, they didn't know what to do. They had a hard time getting any other hospital to want to take me because the trauma was so bad. But finally, St. Francis said they would take me. And so my mom jumped in the helicopter with me, and they were telling her no, she can't ride, but she told them that I was her baby and she was going to ride with me. And on the flight, I coded once, but they brought me back. And when I got to St. Francis, they determined that I had a traumatic brain injury. I completely shattered the right side of my face. From this eyebrow all the way down my nose, it was split open. And they said it looks like the raised hood of a car. That's how nasty it was. My right eye was bad damage because when my face hit the steering wheel, the covering of the steering wheel popped off and the wires got my eye.
You want me to show that?
Those are some pictures of my car. My floorboard got pushed up, and my ankle was black and blue, and they thought it was broken, but they x-rayed it, and it wasn't. Later, they found out that it was my leg that was broken in 2 places. Well, they told my parents and my family to prepare themselves because I had 7 different areas of bleeding on my brain, and that they weren't expecting me to make it. But what was crazy was when my parents finally, when they got to the hospital in Wilburton, when they pulled up back there to the ER, half of Wilburton was already back there, and the prayer chain was already going. And it wasn't just going everywhere in the U.S. because of my brother and his military friends. There was prayer going all over the world, and God was already at work. They didn't expect me to make it through the night. They were just going to watch me. But I did make it through the night. So the next morning, they took me into surgery. They were just going to watch my brain. So they put in the intracranial pressure monitor, which is like a horn, just to measure my brain pressure. And they went in and put my face back together. They worked 9 hours on it. I've got 56 screws just in the right side of my face. After surgery, they told my parents that they didn't think I was going to make it. That if I did, that I was going to be in a vegetative state for the rest of my life. Well, "12 days later, God showed them who was the one that was in control. And it was him, it wasn't those doctors. You know, and people are in a coma for 6 years and then they wake up and they just start talking to everybody like they pick up where they left off. But that's not how it is. The first time when I woke up, I just woke up, I just opened my eyes and looked around for a few seconds and then I was back out. Next time I woke up and looked around a little bit more and they tried to set me up and it didn't last long and then I was out again. I mean, it was a very slow process. But after that 12th day when I was fully awake and I was able to follow commands, I remembered things from the past, but I had no short-term memory whatsoever. And I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn how to dress myself, how to tie my shoes. Don't laugh. I had to relearn how to use the bathroom. I had to relearn how to feed myself. I had to relearn how to read and write. It was such a hard process. After that 12 days, they moved me to the rehab unit and started working with me on everything. And it was so hard. And there were times when I wanted to give up, but thank God I had a great support system with me there. My mom and dad were so great with me. I was in rehab there at St. Francis for 29 days. And after they released me to come home, I still had to go to McAllister for outpatient rehab for what seemed like forever. It was probably just for 6 months. And it's crazy. I remember the day that they released me from the hospital, the neurologist wouldn't look me in the eye, wouldn't talk to me. But she told my mom and dad that, you know, she'll never be able to live on her own. She's gonna need constant assistance. She's never gonna be able to go back to school or go to work or do, you know, any of these things. And I was so mad because I was sitting there and I could hear her saying this about me. And when I got home and was doing rehab, I was trying my hardest to get back to normal. That's all I wanted. Growing up, I went to the same church all my life, Calvary Baptist here in Wilburton. And David and Denon Hammond were my youth directors. And they made such a huge impact on my life. After I was home for a few months, Denon started coming to my house and homeschooling me for a few hours a day and a little bit longer. And then it got to where I could go to school for a few hours a day. And then I could go a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And I ended up graduating on time with my senior class. And then I went to Easter and I graduated there. And then I went straight to work. Because of the damage to my eye, after the accident, I had to go to Dallas so many times for different surgeries on my eye, and Oklahoma City for different surgeries to save my eye. And I'm blind in my right eye, but I thank God that they were able to save it. But I have trouble with depth perception. And anytime we go anywhere, Wendell is always right here on my right side. He knows, he'll tell me you got a stick, you got a hoe or something. He came and God brought him into my life 3.5 years after my car accident, and God knew that he was what I needed. I knew he was what I needed. We both knew that we were meant for each other. When I started working, things were going good. And then I started having, it's probably like 2 years after my car accident, I started having migraines. And it's been 22 years now. And over time, the migraines have gotten worse and worse and worse and more severe. So worse with time. And I've seen so many different neurologists about it. I've tried every medication out there to prevent migraines. Tried every on-the-spot treatment for when one hits. Tried, every medication out there, nothing helps. And they just tell me, well, it's because of the trauma that your brain went through, and just gonna have to find a way to deal with it, but it's not that easy. And from my brain injury, the migraines is my biggest obstacle that I still face today. There have been so many times that the pain has been so bad that I just beg God to take it, because I can't stand to feel this pounding one more time. How am I going to get through, another day? And it's just hard enough because I'm so sick all the time. I can't be the wife that I know that my husband deserves, that I'm supposed to be for him. I can't be the mom that I'm supposed to be for my 2 little boys. And they know what a struggle Mama goes through, and I hate that they have to think about that. But they'll come and lay hands on Mama and they'll pray for me. And we know that even though it's so hard to deal with, that we trust God that one day in His timing that He's going to heal me. My mom wrote in this booklet when I was in the hospital, and I don't know why she kept it all these years, but she just gave it to me last year. And I just want to read you some Bible verses in it. Isaiah 30 and 31. To those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not grow faint. And she wrote, because of God's healing power, your sorrow will not go on forever. This one from 1 Samuel chapter 7. She didn't write which verse it was, but God is the great I am of today. Sometimes He takes us out of situations, problems, needs, or other times He talks us through them. Regardless of the way He works in our lives, we can trust Him as our ever-present God for today. And this is one from Psalms 3, You are a shield around me, O Lord. You bestow glory on me and lift up my head. The Lord sustains me. I will not fear. Things of thousands. Can't really read for anybody on that one. This one is 2 Corinthians 12:9. My grace is sufficient for you, and for my power is made perfect in weakness.
Amen.
Nothing can break or destroy us, even when we allow our weakness to make us strong. And she wrote under here, Medic is a strong, shining tent with God's strength and God's power. Since my accident, there for the first few years, every time I was told I'd want to go by St. Francis and visit my rehab team. And I would see patients there, and I've seen patients on TV that didn't suffer brain injuries near as bad as mine, and they didn't survive. So, I went through a period because learning how to live my life over again was so hard, and I asked God, why didn't you take me while I'm here? But I know it's the purpose to why He led me here.
Amen.
I wouldn't change anything. I'm so thankful